academic English. I had been making grammar videos recently because I realized that I was missing a bunch of really important grammar topics, but I wanted to do a more difficult and challenging class today. So even if you're not at the upper intermediate or advanced level, that's fine. It's basically a vocabulary lesson, so you should be able to figure it out. But everyone in class right now is capable of doing this. So Jessica, okay, Jessica, you're up first. So can you think of one way to transform your country for the better?
I think a way it could. I think it could improve if there were no corruption.
Okay. Okay, yes. Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. That's a great answer. So, can you think of a verb for if there was no? Yeah, let's try to replace that phrase with a verb, right? If there was no corruption. So, like, can we think of a verb right here for this phrase to replace? Because we have you. Are you saying there's corruption now, right?
If there was not corruption, there was is the auxiliary.
Well, how about saying something like this? Here's a good verb. Here's a good verb for you to use. Eliminate. Do you know the verb eliminate? Do you know this verb? Does anybody know this verb? If you think you know, you can try to explain. Does anybody know this verb, eliminate?
It's the same in French.
Yeah, it is. It is, Jawina.
Yes, éliminer.
Yeah, so can you explain this verb to us?
No, in English. You make out? No, it's not make out.
If you eliminate something, you make it exist no more. So so you completely remove or get rid of something. So remove, phrasal verb get rid of, verb abolish, put an end to, do away with, banish, end, stop, terminate, destroy, obliterate. So do we understand this verb now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Great. So now, Jessica, and thank you, Jessica, for allowing me to use your speaking as an example. Now, can you please say this phrase again? And let's use the verb eliminate with the gerund. So like eliminating corruption. And then that would be like a super advanced way to put your thoughts together. So can you please say that?
Yeah, of course. One way to transform my country for the better would be eliminating corruption.
Great, yes. Wow. And that is like a really advanced way. The grammar is perfect. Look at this verb. That's like a level 5 verb. 5 is advanced. So very good. And then when you answer the question with like, you know, repeating the language, it's really well done. And then would be, of course, that is theoretical. That's, you know, we're just thinking about something that's not real, but we're imagining hypothetically, theoretically, how it could be. So thank you very much, Jessica, for demonstrating.
Way to transform my culture for the better would be eradicate corruption.
Great, exactly. So thank you very much, everybody, for allowing me to help you make your phrases a little better. I just wanted to show you this because, you know, honestly, using verbs, specific academic verbs, in place of simple phrases like this, it really improves your level of English quickly. So this is one great thing you can do to take your English to the next level, is to learn more advanced vocabulary, especially verbs. Verbs like this are much more specific and detailed than simple basic verbs. That's the point. That's why it's advanced. It's because this verb tells you more. It's more detailed. It's really an important thing to be able to do. And not only should you learn some vocabulary, you need to learn synonyms for the vocabulary word as well. You have to be able to not only recognize synonyms, but to be able to use synonyms so that you're not using the same word over and over and over again. So you really want to have a wide, like a pool of vocabulary words that you can pull out at any time and you can use them. So, as I said in the video, it's like not the best strategy to just try to memorize definitions. Really, you can only memorize so much. At a certain point, you need to try to understand the vocabulary itself. You have to try to understand the words. So we're talking about prefixes, suffixes, root words, all the various forms of the word. And since you speak French or Spanish or Portuguese, this should actually be pretty easy for you, because almost all of the advanced academic English vocabulary comes from Latin, right? It doesn't come, phrasal verbs are not academic English, really. They're more informal. German is where phrasal verbs come from. The academic stuff, the really intellectual stuff, comes from Latin. And all your languages come from Latin. So this is probably very easy for you. And let's do a little practice. So we have a table here, and we have five forms of the word. We have the base verb, the gerund, noun, adjective, adverb, and there can be more than one. Oftentimes there are more than one. And I'll give you just one of the forms, and then you need to be able to figure out the rest. So all across here will be forms of modified and modifiable. So in other words, what is the base verb of modifiable? What is the noun of modified? And this is an excellent practice, and you need to be able to do this because subject, verb, object, that's the form of English, and you can't use a noun when you should use a verb, or you can't use a verb when you should use a noun. That's not speaking English correctly. So you just need to be able to do all of this. If you can, that means you're doing a great job. If you can't, no worries. It's actually really challenging and really difficult. It's hard for me too. These are academic words. We're here to practice and to improve. So let's do it together, okay? So let's start here, and you can simply unmute your microphone if you want to guess or say something. Don't worry about being wrong. It's okay if you make a mistake. We're all here to learn together. So let's start with the first row. If the adjective is modified or modifiable, what is the base verb?
I can answer.
Sure.
I think it's to modify.
That is
D-A-F-Y.
Yes, to modify is the infinitive. The base verb is just the verb by itself. But yes, you're correct. Great job, Jawida. How about
During what it's we add ing. I think modifying.
Yeah. That's right, modifying. And one second, Jawida. I'm gonna call on somebody. Thank you for answering. How about let's go to Adit. Adit,
Okay,
what do you think? No, it's okay. Adit, what do you think the noun could be?
The noun is modify. No? Sorry, I don't know.
How about, what's that?
Can I try?
One second, Jawida. You can in a second. Let's go for Kasia. Do you know Kasia? If you don't, you can just guess. What did we do to modify the word modify and make it a noun? We added a suffix. And in English, this is a very, very common suffix. T-I-O-N is a very, very common suffix that transforms the word into a noun. And it's exactly the same thing in French, Spanish, and Portuguese. It's the same concept. So I hope that makes sense, because if you see a word you don't know, you can try to guess the part of speech. You can say, oh my God, I don't know this word. I don't understand this word, but I see T-I-O-N at the end. T-I-O-N is the suffix. Oh, that's a noun, right? Okay, well, in English, we go subject, verb, object. A noun is not a verb. So noun is probably an object. And you can start to figure out the meaning. You can try to look at the context. So you can't say in English, I pronunciation the word. You can't say I pronunciation the word. Look, T-I-O-N. This is a suffix for nouns. And in English, we go subject, verb, object. not subject, this needs to be a verb, right? In English, verbs come after the subject. The subject is I need a verb here, right? So that's why you need to be able to do this. So then you can say, oh, I pronounce the word. Oh, pronounce. Pronounce is the verb. Pronunciation is the noun, right? So this is a very important skill to have. Okay, I liked what we did last week with the dictation. So I'm going to dictate a sentence to you again. Please get a pencil or a pen and a piece of paper, something to write with. I'll give you 30 or 60 seconds to get a pencil or a paper, or a pencil and a paper so you can write. And try to get a pencil or a pen. Don't use your phone. Or your computer if possible. I don't want you typing or this. I want you to actually write on paper with a pen or pencil in your hand. That's important. That's important to do. Does everybody have a pen or a pencil and paper? Does anybody need more time? I can give you a little more time. Are we good? Jessica, are you good? First time. We'll convene at 8 p.m. in order to discuss modifying our convention. Second time. We'll convene at 8 p.m. in order to discuss modifying our convention. Number 3. We'll convene at 8 p.m. in order to discuss modifying our convention. All right, here we go. I'm gonna type it out for you. How do you think you did? Do you think you got it right? All right, here we go. We'll convene at 8 p.m.
Well, yes.
Welcome.
We will convene.
We'll convene at 8 p.m. in order to discuss
Combination.
modifying our
Combination.
convention.
Combination.
We'll convene at 8 p.m. in order to discuss modifying our convention. We'll convene at 8 p.m. in order to discuss modifying our convention.